All right, what's good, everyone? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create Azure VNets by following Microsoft's Learn lab guides. These lab guides can be found in the description below. First, we will go through the steps of creating a resource group. Then we'll create a core service VNet, and inside of that VNet, we'll create 4 subnets. Next, we'll create a manufacturing VNet, which will also have 4 subnets within it. And then finally, we'll create the research VNet, which will only have 1 subnet inside of it. So if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of this upcoming content. For those of you who are looking to build a career in cloud computing, this is a great opportunity to learn more about Azure. Feel free to visit the Microsoft Learn link in the description below and follow along in your own lab environment. If you're a visual learner, kick back and enjoy this video. Once you've completed this tutorial, I challenge you to try creating VNets in your own environment and let me know how it went. I'd love to hear about your experiences. So without further ado, enough talking. Let's jump right into it. All right, let's jump right into this lab here. Once again, you can follow along with me in this lab, and I would advise you to do so if you're really trying to pass this exam. The link to this lab guide, once again, is in the description to the Microsoft Learn GitHub. So let's jump right into it. So, when first thing you do is go to your Azure portal. Once you're in the Azure portal, you go to resource groups. And once you're in the resource groups, you're going to create a new resource group. And the name of this resource group is going to be Contoso Resource Group. All right. And we're not going to do any tagging or anything like that. So just going to go to review and create. And once the validation passes, we're going to create. All right, so we can see our resource group is created now. So now we're going to jump over and start creating our 3 virtual networks. All right, so let's go. Oh, you're on your Azure portal home screen. You can just search for virtual, then click on virtual networks. And we are going to click on create a new virtual network. The resource group will be the Contoso resource group that we just created. And this first virtual network, the name of it will be the Core Services VNet. And it will reside in the East US region. And the last thing we need to do with this virtual network is to set our address space, which is going to, for this one, it'll be 10.20.0.0 WAC 16. And once we set our address space, we need to set our subnets. This VNet will have 4 different subnets. All right. And the first subnet will be called the gateway subnet. And that address range will be 10.20.0.0 WAC 27. With that WAC 27 range, it'll give us a total of 27 IP addresses to play around with. And we're going to repeat that for the remaining 3 subnets. The next subnet I'm going to be creating is the shared services subnet. And this one will have a WAC 24 subnet, which will give us 251 IP addresses to play around with, right? And we have 2 more for this one here. This will be 10.20.20.0 WAC 24. And once again, that gives us 251 addresses to play around with. And this last subnet for this VNet will be 10.20.30.0 WAC 24. And once again, it gives us 251 IP addresses to play around with. In this lab, we won't be doing anything with network security. Um, Once again, no tagging. Going to click review and create. Once the validation is passed, I am going to create. All right. So I'm going to let that deploy. While that is deploying in the background, I'm just going to go back to my home page, and I am going to go back to virtual networks, and I'm going to create my next virtual network. The name of this virtual network will be the manufacturing VNet. and it will reside in the West Europe region, right? And this one will have 4 different subnets as well. The address space for this one will be 10.30.0 WAC 16. It's very important to, like, if you're like in a production environment, it's very important to make sure that none of your IPv4 address spaces overlap. That's overlapping with any other VNet within Azure, as well as VNets, well, networks on premises. Because like the issue you will run into when you go to pure virtual networks, you can't do it if the address spaces overlap. And also, if you go to create a site-to-site VPN, or you go to like Express Route, which is something I think we'll lab on later on, you won't be able to do it. You'll run into issues with that because um, the address spaces overlap. All right, so we got the address space for this one, 10.30.0.0, WAC 16. So the first subnet is going to be called the manufacturing system subnet. And that range will be 10.30.10.0, WAC 24. Once again, that WAC 24 is going to give us 251 addresses to play with. And the next subnet is going to be our sensor subnet 1. And that'll give us 10. Well, the range will be 10.30.0, wait, 10.30.20.0, WAC 24. Yeah, that's it. That'll give us 251 addresses to play with as well. Then create our final two subnets. It'll be sensor subnet 2 and sensor subnet 3. For sensor subnet 2, we got 10.30.21.0, WAC 24 as our range. And for the last subnet of this VNet, sensor subnet 3, 10.30.22.0, WAC 24, and we get 251 with that one as well. Once again, no security, no tagging. We're going to review and create. And we have one more VNet to create. And this VNet will only have one subnet. And we're going to do the Contoso resource group again. The name of this last VNet will be called the Research VNet, and it will reside in Southeast Asia, right? And the address space for this one will be 10.40.0.0, WAC 16. All right. And the only subnet we're going to have is going to be called the Research System Subnet. And that subnet will be 10.40.0.0, WAC 24. So we have 251 IP addresses. Play around with that. And no security, no tags, review and create. And going to do create. All right. I'm going to let that create. And I'm going to go back to the virtual networks here. And these are the first two virtual networks that I created. I'm just going to verify the subnets. And as you can see, everything looks good with my core services VNet. And one big thing I want you all to realize here with these VNets, again, is the address space. Make sure these address spaces do not overlap. This one is 10.20.0.0, WAC 16. Go to my manufacturing. This one is 10.30.0, WAC 16. And I'm going to go to my last one, research. My address space here is 10.40. So we have what, 10.20, 10.30, and 10.40. So when we go to start pairing these VNets, we shouldn't have an issue pairing them. All right. And so that's going to wrap it up for this lab here. All right, that is it for this lab on creating Azure VNets. I hope you found it helpful and informative. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment below with your experiences. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.